Hi everybody, this is Maya Zahira with Psychic Protection Sanctuary, and I am just sitting outside on this gorgeous spring day out at my little house on the Kansas prairie. And it's evening. I don't know exactly what time it is, but all the kids are home from school and they're outside playing. Neighbors' kids are outside playing. People are out and about enjoying the day. And I just wanted to jump on here, and I actually have this list of all these. This is my scrap paper. All these videos that I want to create, all these things that have come up recently, or not so recently, with clients, reoccurring issues and patterns that I notice, and questions that they have, and as well as going over some basic info. So I'm planning on keeping these a little bit shorter. I'm laughing because I don't ever do any super short videos, but a lot of my videos are an hour to an hour and a half long. And so some of these that I'm going to be making here in the near future are going to be shorter than that, maybe 10 minutes or something like that. So this first video is going to cover a basic topic, and I'm sure some of you are going to be interested in this. This is all about what is a psychic attack. What actually is it? You might think you know what it is, or you might have an idea of part of what it is, but I'm going to go over a more complete definition. And if you're super interested and you're like an overachieving student like I am, then you can grab a pen and paper, because I'm going to go over 4 different kinds of psychic attacks. Okay. So now that you have your pen and paper, let's get started. So we actually have, I'm going to first break it up into 2 categories. There's unintentional psychic attacks and intentional, like knowingly sending psychic attack. So unintentional and intentional. Let me back up just a little bit though, and just say, generally speaking, that a psychic attack is when negative energy or intent is being sent your way. And a lot of times that can result in all sorts of things, all sorts of symptoms of the psychic attack, including illness, paranormal activity, headaches, pain with no known cause, bad luck. I'm not going to focus in this video too much on all of the symptoms, but there's a lot of different symptoms that can happen if you are under psychic attack. Now, if that negative energy is coming your way, it's definitely going to have some kind of effect on you. The stronger that your energy is, the more you'll be able to hold it off, and the more vulnerable you are, the more it will have an effect on you, right? So let's get back into the different definitions of the types of psychic attacks. So we have unintentional and intentional, and under each of these categories, we're going to have 2 types of psychic attacks. So unintentional psychic attack, we have a psychic attack that comes from a person. Okay, and then we also have a psychic attack, unintentional psychic attack, that comes from an entity, a spiritual being. So let's start off by talking about unintentional psychic attack that's coming from a person. The reason why it's unintentional is because the person is not aware that they're doing it. Emotions and thoughts have an impact. And here, I live right by a dirt road, big truck just drove by. We're just going to keep on going. Emotions and thoughts have an impact. So they are energy. And so if someone is thinking about you and they're angry or or having some other kinds of negative thoughts or negative emotions, and they're thinking about you, that energy is being directed towards you. And as such, it's going to be received like a psychic attack, even though they might not be aware that that's what they're doing with their energy. They're not like casting black magic against you or something like that. They're not even trying to do that. They're not even aware of that kind of thing, maybe, but they're just really angry with you, or having a lot of negative thoughts, or maybe they're jealous. Anger and jealousy are the two top emotions that people send towards others, and resentment, but resentment's kind of like anger, right? So anger and jealousy, like seeing someone who you think is better off than you and thinking, oh, I'm so mad at that person. I wish that they weren't doing so well. That's a psychic attack. That's a little mini psychic attack towards that person. Or like hoping that something bad happens to them, right? That is a psychic attack. So those kinds of thoughts, and then emotions like feeling, oh, the birds. I was like, what is that sound? This is a totally candid video, by the way. That's how I like to do these. Because I am an actual real person. I'm not some like slick make-believe whatever with a fancy camera. Just a real person doing this work and passionate about it. So we're going to have some interruptions once in a while. So with the unintentional psychic attack from a person, it's either really powerful emotions or directed thoughts, right? Like, I hope something bad happens to that person, or feelings of anger, etc. You get the idea. And as I'm talking about this, you might be going, uh-oh, because you're realizing that maybe you've done that to people, and because you're a human being and you have emotions and feelings and thoughts like everybody does. So now that you're more aware of that you could unintentionally be sending psychic attack to people, now that you're more aware of it, you'll, you can actually redirect that energy, and you could still allow yourself to feel those emotions, but just ask that be directed, either down to the earth to be recycled by Mother Earth, or send it to your angels and ask them to take care of it. That way you're not stuffing your feelings down, because that's not healthy either. And you're also then not sending it to the person, because that is a psychic attack. That's an unintentional psychic attack and can actually have a negative impact on them. So that's the first category, unintentional psychic attack by a person. Next, unintentional psychic attack by an entity. And by entity, I mean any intelligent being that's not in physical form. Okay? So that's like a human being that's passed on into spirit, so they're now a ghost. That's actually a very common form of unintentional psychic attack. So I'm not talking about an evil spirit with malicious intent. That would be a different category further on. But let's say there's just like a neutral or friendly spirit in your house or on your property, and they're not intending to do anything harmful to you, but because of the nature of what they are, and they are in spirit form, and they have, for whatever reason, not moved on to be on the other side, for whatever reason, they're not moving on to be with God, they have to maintain their energy somehow. So the most common way that they will do this is by plugging into the human beings who are living in or visiting that space, which means you in your house. So usually it's when you're sleeping, when you're in a vulnerable state, they will plug in and access your energy. That's another reason why I'm always preaching that even if you have a friendly ghost in your house, it's really not a good idea to let them stay there. That's kind of on a case-by-case basis. I have talked with some people who have felt like it was really benefiting them. So that's up to your personal discernment. But that would be an example of an unintentional psychic attack by a spirit, by a ghost, is that it's plugging in and feeding off of your life force energy so it can sustain its own life force energy. And like I said, a lot of times it has no idea that that's even what it's doing. It's not trying to hurt you. it doesn't even understand. He or she doesn't even understand. So that would be an unintentional psychic attack by a spirit. So we have unintentional psychic attack by a person, unintentional psychic attack by a spiritual being, and then we have intentional psychic attack. So we have intentional psychic attack by a human being, and then lastly we'll have intentional psychic attack by a spiritual being. So intentional psychic attack by, and here we're over 10 minutes, of course, because it takes a while to explain all 4 categories, but that's okay. We're just going to keep going. So intentional psychic attack by a person, examples would be if someone chooses to do a hex or a curse, black magic, that sort of thing. Hey neighbor. So if somebody chooses to intentionally do that sort of thing, if that's part of their spiritual practice, and they're upset with you, or they're feeling competitive with you, or whatever reason they feel okay about intentionally initiating a spiritual practice that sends psychic attack. What else was I going to say? Oh, or let's say they don't know how to, let's say they don't have the spiritual knowledge to do that kind of thing. They might hire someone to do it. So they might hire a witch or whoever, any kind of practitioner who is willing to do a hex, a curse, black magic, etc., etc. Okay, so that would be intentional and intentional psychic attack, and those can range from mild to extremely severe, even causing death. I mean, that they could be very, very serious, and it really depends on the knowledge level and the spiritual level of the person sending the psychic attack. So if they are like a master at what they do, then you're going to have some real trouble. If it's just your average person kind of dabbling with some dark stuff, you might notice some negative effects, but it's not going to be the same as with someone who really knows what they're doing, right? So that is an intentional psychic attack by a person. And lastly, intentional psychic attack by a spiritual being. This could be a ghost that's not a friendly or neutral ghost, but an evil, someone who was evil during their physical life, during their physical human life, is most likely going to be evil when they pass into spirit. So a spirit that has malevolent, evil intent. Or there's some demonic entities. There's a whole range of negative spiritual entities out there that will want to cause harm. And there's so many different reasons why this could be. It's really on a case-by-case basis. So if you're going through something, then feel free to contact me and I can help you identify it. Sometimes the evil entity is psychically attacking a person because they were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe they, went into the space that entity considers its own, and so you've barged into its space and it's angry about that. Or maybe you're a light worker who's doing a lot of good in the world spiritually. And so you're coming under attack by one or more dark entities in order to inhibit you from really fulfilling your mission of light work on the planet. So that's also very common. It can also be a combination. I'm also going to add that when there's an intentional psychic attack sent by a person, then sometimes they can initiate an evil spirit. So someone who's doing black magic can call on an evil spirit to then attack the person. So sometimes it's a combined thing where it's a person sending psychic attack but the actual thing that's attacking them is an entity. So they're having paranormal activity in their house. So that's it in a nutshell. There's those 4 kinds of psychic attacks: unintentional from a person, unintentional from a spirit, intentional from a person, and intentional from a spiritual being as well. So if you happen to be going through any type of psychic attack, or if you're not sure that if you might be, then I encourage you to go to my website, www.psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. And also, if you're just curious and you want to know more so that you can be proactive and protect yourself from any possible issues in the future, then I encourage you to go to my website. There's tons of information on there, and you can also contact me if you are in need of one-on-one assistance. I do help people all over the world, as well as people here in this is the Kansas Prairie back here, but the Kansas City area, and the whole regional area, Kansas and Missouri. But I have clients all over the world, and we connect online on video conference and over the phone, and it's really easy these days to connect everywhere. So I look forward to creating some more videos for you on all of these great topics. If you ever have any other video topics that you'd like for me to cover, then just shoot me a message, and you can always connect with me again on my website, www.psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. See you next time. Bye.